VCR with Coco Event Group.
And I'm Kaylee Bender. I'm an artist, educator, and community organizer, a painter based out of Denver.
So we've done a little project before like this called Hidden Gems back in 2020. Since then, how have you grown?
Oh my god. That feels like a lifetime ago. And it definitely feels like a lifetime of growth and change. Since then, I've really leaned into the roles of educator and community organizer. My vision of what purpose art serves in my life has become a lot more clear. Before, I was really a tool to meet people, and it still is, and now I'm a lot more intentional because I'm a portrait painter mostly, and using that as a tool to get to know my community and also to build community. And also my painting's gotten a lot better in those 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see yourself going in this next year? What are your goals for 2025?
Oh my goodness, I haven't thought about those yet. Well, I am part of an arts collective, Kinship Arts Movement. You were there at the mural we did. Our first big project was this past September. We did a huge community mural. There were about 35 artists from ages 5 to 75. And that was such a beautiful feeling. So we're going to continue moving in that direction. Really looking forward to the collaborations throughout the community and different arts initiatives that already exist. But also creating this bridge between art and mutual aid and providing for each other through necessities to make room for creating. And so going through for those goals through Kinship Arts Movement and Colfax Cares, which is my more mutual aid based art initiative.
That's awesome. I'm loving all of the art collectives that are popping up. Me being part of Coco and you being a part of Kinship. I'm excited for the future and seeing if we can, collaborate on certain events because I think we have the same objective at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was just telling someone about Coco. Everything y'all do seems so dope. And I keep missing your events. It's so heartbreaking. I'll see it like the next day and be like, ah. But
yeah, maybe we can drop flyers off at Redline or something when we have like a bigger event or something.
Definitely.
If that's cool with them.
City Records, the record shop I work at.
Oh, okay.
They've got a big table for stuff just like that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll have to go there. I've never been there.
For this upcoming year, I also have my first residency at Platform, which I am super geeked for. I think it's a 6-week-long residency where you're working with their high school interns to create your show together. So I'll be teaching them a skill, and then I'll kind of like have my show around and with them.
Cool.
And it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited.
Sweet. I'll have to ask you about information. Can anyone go to the class?
So the classes, I believe, are just for the high school students, but
okay.
the opening will be on some first Friday. I think mine is in March and April, so I think it'll either be the last Friday of April or the first Friday of May.
Sweet. Well, I'll try to make that for sure.
Yeah, I'll be posting. I will be posting.
So I know you're from Colorado Springs and moved to Denver. When did you move to Denver, and how has it changed your creative path?
I did move in 2020, so you probably caught me a couple of months after I moved last time. So I was in a completely new space, felt very unfamiliar, and we had just known each other from the Springs, which is so dope that we're like in the same community still.
Yeah.
You asked me how has it changed?
How has it changed you, like, creatively?
Oh my goodness. Well, I did start going full time with it at the end of 2020, and it has really just kind of changed how I live my life because it demands that. It demands my time. It requires me to honestly spend most of my time thinking about art and community at this point. And I really love that. And I saw something the other day. It was talking about Uncle Iroh from Avatar, and it's talking about like, let how you act now be like the forgiveness and change that you owe the mistakes that were made in your past. And I feel like I put a lot of things away. I kind of put attention toward myself away. I put my love for art away. And when I lived in the Springs and like probably like high school, college, living in the Springs, honestly probably like forced it to come back, but making it my career really really made me put myself first, because you cannot run on empty doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I try often, and I am humbled often.
Yeah.
And it's still a work in progress. Like, I don't know if there will ever be a perfect balance, but it has, I've really been just like sitting with how I treat myself and like how I fill myself up so that I can continue to pour into and with community and continue to share those things.
Definitely. What are your core values and how does that apply to your art?
You should have given me a study guide. A study guide so I could be prepared. Community and connection. Sharing the knowledge and resources that I have is a really big one. Don't gatekeep. Gatekeeping is for losers. Mm-hmm. There's closed practices. Art is not that. So that is, yeah, sharing is a big one. Speaking truth to all situations. Advocacy for myself and others. I've done a lot of, I spoke at my first bid renewal meeting for Rhino, and I spoke in a way that I think I would have been scared to before.
Yeah.
It was very structured and polite criticism and asking for change. And that also felt super powerful to take that value of speaking truth and putting it in the place where it has power and it holds weight. And figuring out how to continue doing that, not just through my art, but with how I interact with community and the world around me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other core values I got. To create often, I think I kind of slip away from that one. One of my homies told me that organizing is a trap because it can pull you away from your creative practice real quick without realizing. And so trying to come back to that part of, creating often, creating every day, because we always have some sort of creative input. And I'll speak for myself. I'm on Instagram all the time. I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of input. Now I need to have that output to match.
Yeah, definitely. I struggle with that too sometimes. But to go back on you public speaking and stuff like that for, what was it?
It was the Rhino Business Improvement District renewal.
Wow. Yeah, so just, I don't know, from when I met you, us both, I feel like being shy girls, to now, it's just beautiful to see your growth and like how much you've done since moving up here.
Dude, thank you. Same. I mean, look at us right now. Leveling up all the time.
I'm really, really challenging myself right now because just thinking about this project, I was like, I'm awkward. What am I going to say to people?
You're doing a great job.
So, cheers to growth.
Yes. Yes.
This is a question I've been asking everyone. How do you view the Colorado creative scene?
Okay, because if you asked me that question last year, I would have hit you with a different answer.
Yeah.
I'll give you that preface, how I would have answered last year. No questions about it. You meet people that when they see you doing what you want to be doing and really putting yourself out there and making sure that you're showing up for yourself, people want to support you. People want to make sure that you can do that for yourself and for others. And I still really experience that. The people that really mean it and are in my community, in my corner like that, absolutely. I have experienced an insane amount of elitism in the past year that has made me lose faith in that.
Yeah.
It is extremely disappointing. But also, it has kind of changed the direction of where, how, and why I work. Because being treated the way I've been treated, just trying to show up for the community, has really like fueled me to make sure that that does not happen to anyone else. And speaking at that bid renewal was part of that, in addressing just how we handle each other. That was definitely a more community-based situation, but in speaking of the arts, it really is, Crush was like my introduction to the art scene here, and I was like, oh my god, you can just pull up, you can just paint, you can just do this and that. And then as time goes on, you kind of see all the underlying, like, oh, you get to do that because you know this person, because you are somebody, because you have a reputation behind you. And that's not always the case. There are some wonderful opportunities to share regardless of status, regardless of experience. And that is what I want to see more of. So I've been really looking for those spaces and people who are dedicated to really uplifting everyone regardless of their status and all the good stuff.
Definitely. Couldn't have worded it better myself. I've definitely had like, just being a photographer for 11 years, the weird phases and experiences that I've faced in Denver. But now I'm finally getting to a point where I'm finding like-minded individuals that are wanting the same things. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited the direction it's going in, but it definitely needs a lot of work.
Constant work, constant redirection, but it keeps us in line.
To branch off of that, how do you think we could collectively improve the creative scene?
Holding each other accountable is a really big one. When we see space for change and improvement, speaking on that and receiving that with willingness to change is really important. And as far as like, that's keeping a safe community as well, making sure individuals are being respectful and of each other's works, minds, bodies, all of that. And the ADD train just dropped me off. Yeah. I don't know what I was talking. I was in the middle of something. I was doing so good the whole time too. Okay, how can we improve the art community? Yeah, accountability to each other, and willingness to change, making sure that there is space for those conversations, making sure that it's comfortable to have those conversations. We need to foster environments where we are not afraid to speak up on how to make it better for ourselves and be able to advocate for ourselves. And also making sure that we're including people from all life experiences, people from all races, backgrounds, and not just checking off the box, making sure that we are like really intentional about it. And I see us doing it, you know, but it's also like very natural because we gravitate toward each other when we do that, and like being more intentional about it, especially in spaces that don't outwardly welcome us. And I'm speaking as a woman of color right now.
Yeah.
And I even if it's never written in stone that someone is not welcome, but we have to be extremely intentional in making sure environments do feel welcoming to everybody.
Definitely. Yeah. That's been an interesting subject too, going to certain events. In the past, I either feel like, I don't know, super left out, or that I can't like speak up in certain communities. So
I'm sorry you felt that way ever. But I also see you carving out that space to make that change in your direct community and letting that ripple out.
Definitely. And I'm finally learning not to be too sweet. Like,
yes,
being
yes.
like, you suck. You can't treat me like that. Like,
Yes.
this is finally a good year where I'm breaking that boundary.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
a
hard
huge,
one.
huge step for me.
That's a hard one.
How would you describe your art? Like, where did you discover your style, and who are your inspirations and muses?
Excellent. So I feel like my style is constantly changing, but like this past year, I was able to look at what I have created and being like, okay, I see the thread. I see this vein of thinking. And when it comes to my work on murals, I am mostly a portrait painter, and I work with spray paint. And so I feel like I'm still finding my style when it comes to my really big stuff, but my canvas work, again, focusing on portraits and community members. Like, I love just approaching people and asking if I can take their picture for a portrait. But I feel like I'm kind of settling into like I don't know how to describe this, but it's like realism, but it's like right there. And it's just it's a little dreamy. It takes you just into that level of magic, like a little realm of magic, even if it is just, a portrait of a man. I have Leroy too is one of my favorite paintings that I have of my buddy Leroy, and it's just him in a purple suit on a purple background, but there's just something about the way he's looking at you, and then his face is extremely realistic while his suit is kind of like this playful, expressive style. And I appreciate where I'm able to like blend those two. It's going very slowly, but I've been appreciating how it's showing up a little bit more often. And for my influences, one of my influences here is Jasmine Holmes. She just finished her Red Line residency. Mm-hmm. Her work is amazing. She also focuses mostly on portraits surrounding food and our relationship with it, and just the way she uses color and movement in her pieces is so dope. And there's another artist I'm thinking of right now, but I can't think of his name. But he is an older black gentleman that also does portraits, where I got the inspiration from Leroy in his purple suit, almost blending into the background, but standing out just enough to kind of have that dreamlike quality.
Nice. Sorry, wish I had a better answer.
I think that's just how it goes. That's alright.
Every time I'm like, cool.
But it is cool. It is.
If you had one thing to say to our youth that's coming up and wanting creativity as their future, what's a piece of advice you would give them?
Don't stop. It's don't stop and don't aim for perfection. I put my art away because I was really scared of what people would think. I was so scared I was going to be bullied, y'all. Like, I stopped doing art in high school because I was like, no, I don't want anyone to make fun of me. And I've quieted it now, but I always would think like, oh, what if I didn't stop? Like, where would I be now if I didn't have to take that time away from it? And there are so many opportunities as a young person, specifically like middle school, high school. You can get paid to go be an intern at Platform, I think. But there are opportunities for you to get paid and explore what you love and learn new things, and then not aiming for perfectionism, because that will just kill whatever spark you have when you're aiming for something that is out of reach. There is no perfection. You can finish a piece and be like, oh my god, this is incredible, this is perfect.
Yeah.
but you can't aim for that because for me personally, it has only stopped the process because I'm so scared to touch it again.
Yeah, definitely. Or there's been times where I've like taken a really good portrait and then I'll have a few months of like just dry, like uninspired work, and then I get down on myself and I'm like, I suck at creating, but it's not the case at all. It's just need to stop with the perfectionism on everything.
Exactly, and you just gotta get stuff out sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's you gotta get the stuff you don't necessarily like out of the way so that the amazing thing has room to come through.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for your time and being on the podcast. I appreciate you and knowing you for so long and seeing how you grow.
Thank you, me too.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe.
Thank you for having me. That was cool.